Welcome to the Alomar Designs podcast show. Um, Today we want to discuss the new EVO QPI. Now, before we even get into that, I wanted to basically say happy anniversary to our country. 250 years is a big thing, and we wanted to celebrate it by doing something really special for our clients because let's just face it, we have the best clients in the world, and so we wanted to do something special. So we decided to go and create some new products, but at the same time, celebrate AM Designs, celebrate our 250th anniversary by rolling back prices. Now, I know what you're thinking. Am I thinking rolling back to last year? Are we thinking rolling back to COVID or pre COVID? We're talking about rolling back prices. And I got lucky enough to be able to negotiate with my vendors the last several months, and this has been a couple of years in the making, trying to get this all going. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun for the rest of this year. So let's go back, and we're going to go back 20 years. I know, if you think about it, I've been doing this now for 30 years, but in the audiophile community and so forth. I'm just stepping out of the pro world right now, and I'm stepping in the consumer audiophile world. And we have something called the QPI, which we used to sell for like $30. And the QPI's main advantage was that you could plug it into the wall and it drew no power whatsoever. But within its frequency range that it developed in, it would squash noise by like 45 decibels, which is a lot, in the audio world. This is something that's audible, it's visual, you can see it, it's great. And as time went on, we made all different versions. We made copper, we made silver ones, we made 14 karat gold ones when you could actually purchase gold wiring for a respectable price. Try to do that nowadays, you know what I mean? Even trying to buy copper nowadays is ridiculous. But anyway, so we always had a really good thing with it. And then, the clients, they want more from you, so they want something different, and they want something different. But the importance of the QPI that a lot of people don't realize is that this is the original active cell. For me personally, when it came to the platforms, but for every single power conditioning manufacturer out there, they all got their initial concept of building a power conditioner from the QPI. There was nothing like it before that. There was quantum filtering before that, which was pulsating, using an inductive core and pulsing it. But there was no such thing as setting up a filter in parallel that drew nothing for energy. And there still isn't to this day. The other guys have to go and give and bias it, and basically they have to give it a DC field in order for it to work. We don't have to do that, and we're the only ones that don't have to do that. I guess I should consider myself, thankful that they didn't go and copy that from us. But so anyway, we used to sell these filters for about $30, and you could plug them into your refrigerator outlet and your HVAC and your stereo system, your TV, and blah, 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 blah. The whole idea of the design is that it reduced digital noise. Now, a lot of people, they think of noise as just noise. It's either radio frequency noise or it's EMI, electromagnetic interference. But what is digital noise? And here's the thing that people don't realize. Radio frequency noise, no matter what it is, forget what the source is, the moment that it is bonded to your electrical field in the wall, it's within the analog band. Period. You can hear it, you can see it, you can measure it, it's analog. When digital noise from cell traffic, for example, collects onto the electrical field, it basically pings it and creates a ripple effect. That ripple, which self-generates as an odd harmonic, is electromagnetic interference. It's EMI. Capacitors are able to deal with RF up to a certain point. About 1 gigahertz, the capacitor really cuts out a lot. Inductors are only good up to about 150 to 200 hertz, 200,000 hertz, or 200K. But in between there, I don't care if it's a dirty electric filter, capacitor. I don't care if it's a quantum filter, inductor. There is nothing out there that addresses digital noise. So we set out back in 2003 to start looking at designing digital filters. And it was for the recording industry and the mastering industry. And we came up with a simple, because everything in that world has to work, and it has to be inexpensive, and you have to have some form of margin, or you won't make a profit. So we came up with a very simple concept idea that it was plug and play, it wasn't expensive to produce, and we were able to make a little bit of a profit margin to warrant doing it. I did everything in-house. I did everything custom made because it was cheaper than actually having shit fabricated at the time. But anyway, so we went and we did that, and it's a simple plug and play device. You plug it in, let's say for the hell of it, we're looking at digital noise. Where does digital noise come from? It comes from your flat panel display. It comes from the display on your stereo receiver. It comes from your computer. It comes from your dishwasher with the digital display. It comes from your refrigerator. That's Wi-Fi, yet you don't turn the Wi-Fi off even though you're not using it. And it goes on and on and on. And what happens is that digital noise leaks back into the electrical line as a physical frequency. Not a ripple, a frequency. And the frequency literally goes over top. And you say, well, why can't a capacitor get rid of that? Because the frequency is above 1 gigahertz. And a capacitor at that frequency range, let's just face it, is absolutely fucking useless. You can't it don't matter what type of filter you design, it's fucking useless. It doesn't do anything for you. So we developed an idea that would take that frequency, and we would create a basically a localized inductive field. And as the frequency passed through the field, it would be absolutely absorbed 100% by the field. Worked then, works today. So you could go ahead and plug one or two in on a circuit, and voila, takes it out. Now, remember, I always talk about everything as a tool, right? We plug this in for the air handlers, and it provides PFC, the EVO RF, and it's a tool. We take the EVO 1s as a bypass, or an EVO 4 as a bypass to make the RF sound good at the stereo system or at the television set, and it's a tool. The EVO QPI is the same thing. It's a tool. It's no different than a blocker. A blocker is a tool. A blocker is absorbing stray RF from outside the home from entering. This is absorbing digital noise on your electrical circuitries before it's allowed to go anywhere. It just dies. So if you know automatically any digital type of piece of electronic, again, computer, flat panel TV, washer, dryers, blah, 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 right? Anything that you're not using one of those other two filters for, okay? If it's in a large appliance like the refrigerator, like the washer machine, use the RF. That's what it's designed for. If you're looking at a computer or your streamer or your flat panel display or even some of these LED light bulbs, if you have a table lamp or a desk, a floor lamp, they're noisier than shit, and they're all digital noise because of the circuitry on the inside, plug in a QPI. If you have an air cleaner that has an electrostatic charge, plug in a QPI. This not only squelches noise on the circuit, but it also blocks noise from entering the circuit. Any open receptacle, any open outlet at the wall is a sneak path. Radio frequency, electromagnetic radiation, digital noise can actually go right through the slots onto the magnetic field in the outlet. Now you just gave it a sneak path. This absolutely blocks it. It can't do so. Now, what if you're an audiophile or you're a video file? Let's just say you're a video file for the hell of it. How do you know it works? Because there's one thing I used to get with these devices is there's no LED light. How do I know it's on? Well, plug it in the wall and find out. Takes about 20 minutes. Give it 20 minutes. Plug it into the same outlet as your TV. Did you notice within 20 minutes that the clarity of your television significantly improved, that the color vibrancy and the hue saturation significantly improved, that the depth of image significantly improved? If you can say yes to any of that, then it's working. If you plug it into the outlet that powers your CD player or your transporter, your DAC, and you notice greater depth and better clarity and better separation within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, continues to improve over time, then you know it's working. Now, what we did with the EVO QPI is I took the basic idea, I reworked it, and I created a filter that was 3 times the size. So you get 3 times the performance out of this. Now, I know what you're thinking. He sells filters for $300, $400. I just said it. We're rolling back prices. That's it. We're going back to the beginning as a way for us to say thank you for all these years of support. I've been doing this since the mid-90s. So this is my way of giving back. Are you ready? 3 times the size. $59.95. I mean, when was the last time you went to an audiophile place and you were able to buy a filter? And believe me, if you're one of the audiophiles that have used these in the past, we sold them by the thousands. If you're one of the guys from back then, you know what it does. 3 times the performance for just a couple dollars more than we originally sold it for? $59.95? I mean, that's crazy. I'll tell you a story about the QPI. I have a client down in Jamaica. Every once in a while, I'll tell this story. Have you ever been down to Jamaica and you went on the bus and you toured the island? You know what a rat's nest the electrical is there, and any form of improvement is going to be dramatic. I didn't think it was this dramatic, so I do a holiday special over Christmas. He calls us up. He buys 4 units. We ship them down. Blah blah. So, after a few weeks, he receives them, he plugs them in, he uses them for about 2 weeks, and he sends me an email. And he said, I just had a hell of a time the other day. I said, and he goes into this big spiel on how the cops knocked on his door with the folks from the power company. And I'm reading this going, what the fuck is this shit? He bought 4. He plugged one in the refrigerator, one in the AC unit, one into the water pump, and something else. I forget what it was. Maybe a stereo system. Probably a stereo system. And once it's set up, this creates localized inductance, which is how that field goes and squelches the noise. But it's all based on the electrical current. So you could plug this in anywhere around the world, and it would just work. It's just based on your current. Don't matter if it's single phase, dual phase, 3 phase. It just works. And anyway, So they come to his house and they're trying to, tell him he's stealing electricity. He says, "I'm not stealing electricity." And they go through his house and they can't figure out where he's hooked up at. They go all over his property. They can't figure out where the hell he's hooked up at. They're looking at the neighbors. They can't figure out how he's stealing electricity from the neighbors. So they said, "Well, we give up. What did you do 2, 3 weeks ago that changed all this?" And he's thinking to himself, "The only thing I've done is I plugged in Allen's filters." So he said, I plugged these filters," and he shows them the QPIs. And he says, I got 4 of them. I plugged one here, I plugged one there. Bada bing, bada boom. So they analyze it. It's not drawing any power. They can't figure out what the hell's going on. So about a month goes by, and I get a very nice email from an engineer at the local state-run electrical down in Jamaica, who is very curious on how it works. Um, they can't seem to figure out how to make it for themselves, et cetera, et cetera. What the price would be if I went and I did them up in this type of lot size and all that fun stuff. So, we go down and we send down several hundred. And I never heard back from them after that, but you know, it was just really cute. They just had no idea how it was done, and it's not hard, but you see, if it doesn't have a fancy light on it, people go, "There's no possible way that can be working." You know, I think about all the different types of devices that have come out over the years based on this inductive concept, right? And Nordis QK one coil, the cutest coil, whatever it's called, you know, coil, resistor, LED light bulb, dump to the, and then they go and they dump the inductance on a neutral. Same concept, You load up the inductance inside the coil, not as strong as what you would get with one of these. This is equivalent, like an example. If you took a look at like a Synergistics power conditioner, right? And not ones they make today. I couldn't go and tell you yay or nay with those, but the ones that like I own that are 10, 15 years old. Now remember, this came first. You get equivalent performance. You take 1 or 2 of these and you plug them into the same circuit, and I got to be honest with you, I almost prefer 2 of these over my original power cell. Does it work with the power cell? It's great with the power cell. Plug them in at the wall, works great. But they're so close in performance, except this deals with the whole circuit versus they go and provide a little bit of in series isolation. That it's apples and oranges. But they are really close in performance. The difference is back then those were costing $30 or whatever we were selling them for each, and that was a unit that costs a couple $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 at the time. And I think they were like 5, right? That makes that right about right. 4,500, 5, somewhere in that ballpark they were originally going for, and you know it's $60, $5,000. It's a no brainer, right? And so forth. It wasn't until I got involved with the EMF and the nonprofits where they really wanted me to go and be competitive towards the other EMF dirty electric filter companies. And you get to a point where you can't have 25 different filters and bring them out, and it just confuses the shit out of people, so they don't know what to purchase. So I wound up putting the QPI away for a really long time, and I played with capacitors until I just got bored of doing it. And like you look at the RF and the EVO 1 and 4, I'm done making capacitor-based filters. I've done coils to compete with the Nordis of the world and all type of stuff. Again, nothing wrong with it. To me, it's boring. This here is a little bit more interesting, and it's challenging because there are ways to take this filter and still improve the performance of it. But again, at what cost? Do you want to go and spend the pricing for silver? You want to spend the pricing for 20, for 18 karat wiring. I mean, that's expensive after all, So I'm probably going to just stick with this. But for $59.95, I mean, this is an insane design. So you can go over to our website right now. It is available right now. But I want you to stay tuned, and I'll tell you why. Because this is the 250th. I don't see the 4th of July as it. That's it. That's 250 and it's over with. It's the entire year, which is 250. It's our 250th year. And that's the way I kind of see it. I didn't want to do like everybody else and milk 250, right before the 4th of July. This is a design that is 20 years old this year. And we did a brilliant thing with it. We made it 3 times stronger for only twice the price of what it originally cost back in 2006. That's insane. So, and one of these filters is equivalent to plugging 3 of the old ones in. So, you know what I mean? Now, stay tuned because tomorrow I'm going to be back. And I got something cool to talk to you about tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, hold on to your hats. I'm going to be back. We have 5 brand new products to show you this week. They're all under $100. They're all going to knock your socks off. And the great thing about it is that we were able to roll back pricing 20 years. I dare anybody else in this business to be able to do that. You know what I mean? So until tomorrow, take care, guys. Check the website out, AM Designs Health, HEALTH.com. Check out the new products. Okay. Jenny's weaving her little heart out. She's got new collectibles going up, Jesus, almost every day. Okay. So go check the stuff out. All right. Take care. Talk to you tomorrow. Adios.